and
also
releasing, Go ahead.
It's about what happens is that in everyday life we build up all this kind of resistance inside the body, and it's amazing because I'll do a pretty intense series of exercises and I'll be exhausted, and I'll do this for 2 or 3 days, and then what I'll do is I'll finally decide to do some yoga. Just because I'm kind of stiff from all the exercise. And I'll do an hour of yoga, and I have more energy after the yoga than I had, before. And because the blockages and the resistance is removed by doing the yoga.
Yeah.
And Tai Chi does this, and I think what you're talking about is that also.
Well, there's the Hatha Yoga Pradipika writes about the nada. I mean, it's actually quite beautiful because the nada is really the center of it all. It says, I can read this to you.
Yeah.
This is a translation out of the Hatha Yoga Pradipika because there's so many people who do yoga out there, and it says, salutations to the nadam. Nadam is the primordial sound, which is the inner guide and the inner life, the dispenser of happiness to all. It is the inner guru, appearing as Nada, Bindu, and Kala. One who is devoted to the inner guru, the Nada, the inner music, obtains the highest bliss. So Nada Yoga is actually the highest form of yoga, and always was. And more yoga teachers are understanding this.
Well, that's because of work like yours.
And we're also, of course, we're working with Sanskrit. And Sanskrit is an incredible language. Sanskrit, even just writing the Devanagari, and Devanagari means the script of the gods, puts you in an altered state of mind. I mean, you really go beyond, we're talking about time and space all the time now, thank God, also in the West. But this is what specific sacred languages do, and there are several sacred languages. But also working with sound, it does take you beyond time and space, and that is that incredible time of true inner peace and rest that we have. And that also transforms you, even if you just get, an hour and a half of that. My students, I wish they would practice more, but, they just get so much benefit just from coming once a week, even if they don't do the practice. But, what I want to say is before we end, you were talking about death. I am actually going to do a training to become a certified music practitioner for music for healing and transition, because this is becoming a new profession where actually people like me are employed by hospitals to go and sing for the patients and for the dying.
And, it's wonderful.
Yes, and I had a very deep experience of that last year. One of my best friends was dying of cancer, and for 6 months I was one of the caretakers. And he would always say, because I would sing for her, and sometimes for 2-3 hours, and she was in great pain in the end, and she said, Shanti, the only thing that relaxes me is when you come and sing for me. And so I just really excited that even here in Eugene, Oregon, where I live, the Sacred Heart Hospital is employing people to do this work. Before it was just the thanatologists who play the harp, but they're also recognizing that people who play other instruments, that it has a very profound effect. And actually, when I was doing my sound healing training with Fabian Maman, who is one of the top sound healing gurus in the West, he was showing us at the very beginning of our training these slides of how sound was breaking down cancer cells. And he was showing how you could see the aura.
Yes.
And you could see he was actually with different instruments. And the most powerful instrument was the voice. And they say... That
is really exciting.
Yeah, and they say actually in the scriptures that Why is the voice the most powerful? It is because it belongs to the ether element which goes beyond time and space.
Wow. Well, with that, that's a great way to end the show. Thank you so much, Shanti. That was awesome.
Thank you for having me.
I wanted to get into more. I'm going to have you on again because I want to get into more of that, what we were just talking about.
Yes, we need
it's really great.
We need to talk about the musical modes and all that. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, too, Shanti. Okay, you've been listening to Smoke and Mirrors. I'm Jay Weidner. Thanks for listening. We've got Timothy Beckley on tomorrow night. He's a madman like I am. And thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.
Electromagnetic field that has been measured between 500 and 5,000 times greater than that of the brain. Now that's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And that happens when you're in a state of coherence. Now the big question is, when do we get into a state of coherence?
Really?
When we're in a place of compassion, kindness, and love.
And how do you do that? You do it by intention, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I have a new book coming out called The Divine Name: The Sound That Can Change the World, and that'll be coming out from Hay House in March. And I'm not sure if this exercise that that I'm going to talk about is in my previous one, which is called The 7 Secrets of Sound Healing. But basically, it starts with, it's a twofold, really easy thing that comes from a number of people, including the heart math people. Greg Braden does it, a lot of people, and I sort of put it together and then added sound. But, Jay, basically, it's, you begin to breathe in and out in a very slow and deep manner. Notice I'm changing my voice and the pulsations I'm putting out, and at the same time, you visualize yourself breathing in and out through the heart. And this alone is a huge thing, just this concept of visualizing that you're breathing in and out through the heart. And then as you're doing that, you think of something that you feel appreciation for. Now, you'd think, think of something that you feel love for or compassion. But it turns out that for most people, they're so, for want of a better term, wounded, that they have difficulty really thinking of something that they really love in a really unconditional, unattached way. So appreciation seems to be the most positive, beneficial way of people doing that. And then once you begin breathing in this manner and thinking of something that you feel appreciation for, I simply have people add a tone to that, and that tone seems to really amplify the field even more. I often say that there's a reason why most of the prayer on this planet is vocalized, as opposed to being just, silently done, whether it's being muttered or whether it's being chanted or whatnot. It's because when you vocalize the sound, you're actually taking this coherent waveform and you're really creating it as a crystallized, focused beam of energy, and it really acts as a trigger mechanism to spread out the energetic form of, if you like, our prayers or meditations. Does that sound crazy?
I think that is about the most reasonable thing I've ever heard. You talk about cheap. I mean, who needs health care when you got this?
Well, I'm very, I started out, I've been in this field for about 30 years, and I guess I'm considered one of the pioneers in this field, though of course I'm not. I'm simply one of the people who have been in this field this long who are still on the planet, and we give thanks for that. But, this idea of using sound for healing is ancient, whether it's going back to the ancient Egyptians or Pythagoras or